Well, hello there. Here I am with my cup of reason, and we've got my friend Sableagle with me here, and we're just gonna have a bit of a chit chat and some fun, and just kind of catch up on the week. And so far, we've got Clive Wells in the side chat. Hello, Clive. Good to see you, buddy. Nobody else though. How do you feel about that, Sable?
It now says 2 watching now. I think those are you and me. So that's great.
Yeah.
If you leave as well, I can actually sing.
I don't know if that's really a good idea.
Oh, I sing extremely well as long as nobody can hear it.
Ah, okay. You're one of those shower maestros.
Well, according to a karaoke game that I installed on a computer years ago, if there's nobody else within quarter of a mile and I've been drinking, I actually sing a heck of a lot better than I do whenever there's anybody around or I'm sober.
Ooh.
At least on songs that I know.
That's good to know. That's good to know. We got some people starting to show up. Chris Durham is here. Hey, Chris, how are you, buddy? Good to see you, man. And Archangelus Lune, hello, hello. Always welcome here. Good to see you, sir. So, yeah, it's been a week, hasn't it? Lots of stuff happening out there, man. Echo, echo, echo. Are you serious?
Is that me echoing at your end or you echoing at my end?
Yeah, please elaborate, Clive. Where is the echo coming from? Me or Sable? Where's it coming from? Is it gone now? It should be gone now. Yeah, it should be okay now. All right. Well, if there's more echo or any more problems with the audio, just shout out in the chat, okay? I'll do what I can to fix it on the spot. But everything should be good now. Hey, Doomver, Northern Aggressor. Hello. Nice to see you, my friend.
Well, there's an unfortunate name.
Yeah. Well, actually, I kind of like it. Doomver, the Northern Aggressor. I kind of like that name. That kind of, it's got some oomph.
Well, if you're in the USA, the Northern Aggressor is that goddamn liberal Yankee coming onto our land and stealing all our slaves and setting them free. How dare he?
Damn.
If you're in the Ukraine, the Northern Aggressor is somebody different.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got their own definition of a Northern Aggressor, right? But that's okay. I like the name anyway.
Here we have Southern assholes.
And what group would you consider Southern assholes?
The government.
The government. Okay, well that's a good one. That's a good one. Hey, Tusk is here. Hello, Tusk. How are you, my friend? Good to see you, sir. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, you have a new pressure cooker. All other news is irrelevant. Well, congratulations, sir. I hope you and your pressure cooker have a very happy and healthy relationship. So when is Eddie moving out? No, just kidding. Just kidding. That's cool though. It's amazing what you can do with a pressure cooker.
Yeah, as demonstrated in Boston a while ago.
What's that?
Yeah, some people in Boston did something quite amazing with a pressure cooker a while ago, didn't they?
Well, yeah, from what I hear.
Well, the pressure release valve closed.
That's what they put one there for a reason,
16 to 3 by weight ammonium nitrate and sugar. Lock the lid on, put it on the burner, run like hell.
Jeez, lamb curry. That sounds awfully good, Tusk. You gonna do a video on that? I'd love to see that, man. Absolutely. Yeah. So lots of stuff going on this week. What's your week been like?
Very loud and very wet for the first couple
Very
of
loud.
days.
Okay.
And then very peaceful since then.
Been getting a lot of rain lately, eh?
Yeah, we got, well, I didn't get flooded. Where I am is pretty well protected against floods just by height and the shape of the river. But in town, we got, I don't think it got into anybody's homes, but it got high enough to close the road.
Yeah.
And there's a footpath goes from here, well, not from here, from the downstream side of town down to the riverbank and then along the flood defences around past the next town down.
Yeah.
And there's a pub, and then you come back up the road from there. Nice walk, except the pub's closed due to a fire, and the water got high enough to actually submerge the flood defences. So I haven't been for a walk that way. I could go out to Staveley Nature Reserve, the opposite direction, but that will be a quagmire.
Yeah. I'm in a kind of the opposite position. I'm at that. I'm down near the riverbank. So when we get the monsoons during the rainy season, it can flood out pretty good here. As you saw probably on the flip side last week, I showed some pictures of what it can get like.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on a riverbank, but the river that flows across the bottom of my garden then goes over a 4-foot weir and then runs downhill from there into the big river. I think there's another weir at the far end where it drops into the big river as well. There's a pretty big drop there, which is the one that actually floods. This little one will come up 2 inches.
So the water naturally gets drawn away from you.
Yeah. For it to flood. Also, I'm above the level of the flood defences. So if you have a river running down a narrow channel, you have very slow flow at the bottom and at the sides. And the farther in from the surfaces the water is, the more easily it can flow. Because the water right at the edges is filling in gaps between rocks and sleep. There was a word in there somewhere, that wasn't it. Seeping between grains of sand, or it's flowing very turbulently and very slowly through narrow gaps between rocks and tree roots and stuff, and shopping trolleys, because this is England, in the riverbed. But that acts as a lubricant for the next layer of water, which can therefore go faster. And the next layer of water in from there is flowing over flowing water, which is a smooth surface, and it's already going, so it goes a whole lot faster. As the water level comes up, you're increasing the perimeter where there's a very slow flow, but you're also increasing the cross-section of that swift-flowing middle part. So the total flow rate increases a lot. When it reaches the flood defences, you go from each extra centimetres depth is adding this much cross-section, which is slowly increasing because the flood defences are sloped back, to suddenly an extra centimetres depth is adding an extra centimetre deep, a kilometre wide, where it's flooded. And that is a ludicrous amount of water. So for it to continue rising above there, it would have to have swift flowing water going over the top of the water that's only just on top of the flood defences at high speed, meters deep, which isn't impossible, especially with melting ice caps and glaciers and rising sea levels and increasingly intense storms. But by the time that happens, we're going to have other problems, like possibly Blackpool Tower getting blown across the country scale of problems, or the occasional farmhouse getting washed down the river.
Oh, it's not like Ho Chi Minh City, where I'm at. We're sitting on a piece of land that's got a very high water table. So when the big rains come, the drainage systems and everything just gets instantly overloaded, and it just comes up through the sewers and everything. It's horrible. So
the Vale of York has that problem to some extent. If you look at the Ordnance Survey maps, the one reason to use Bing.com, not Google.com, for your maps is that Bing has an Ordnance Survey option for the UK. And it is so much better than any of the other maps you will pick up. You go to Google Terrain, they have just sort of Yeah, there's kind of a 900-meter contour somewhere around here, ish, vaguely, probably. And if you go to Bing, it is down to the bloody meter. I think
Wow.
the pixels are 2 meters wide, but it has all the contours. The 25,000 scale map will tell you which side of the wall to walk across how many fields. Now, to the meter, how far out from the corner you need to be to go through the gate. And the works. They're wonderful maps. They have 10-meter contours, very precisely mapped out. Cool. They're great. And if you look at
Bing
that
is
one
good for something.
For York, you can follow the riverbank down. You can see where it changes from a blue line to a black line, which is it changing from here is the riverbank to here is the high tide line. And of course, if the high tide comes all the way up to there, at high tide, the river gets that far and then is flowing over salt water rather than draining down a channel. And yeah, salt water is a smooth surface and the river can spread out over it, but it slows down doing it, which means it backs up. So even above that black line, you will get tidal effects. And yeah, York floods. I have photos and videos of York in flood.
Oh, hey, Dora's here. Hello, Dora. Nice to see you, sweetheart. Good job. Welcome, welcome. Always wonderful to see you here.
Hey, Dora.
Sorry,
good
I just
news.
had to say hello to Dora.
Yeah.
Always have
good
to
news,
say hello.
Dora. I'm on the show this week, which means I can't win next week's slot, so you stand a chance.
Yeah, cool. And we do have a puzzle today. We do have a puzzle. Tusk, you know what? I think that would be cool. I would love to see you do a show showing off your new toy. That would be fun. I think you should do it. Spot the goat curry is out of the question. No, we don't do spot the goat curry. We just do spot the goat. And then if Tusk finds the goat, then it becomes a goat curry. So, yeah, see, it's only because Tusk hasn't got any goat at the moment. Don't worry. We got the flip side tomorrow, Tusk. You spot the goat, you got a goat for curry. There you go.
Or just get to Morocco and whistle.
There you go. But I think shipping might be a killer.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially if they want to quarantine the goat for 3 weeks before you're allowed to bring it the rest of the way into the country.
So what's your favorite kind of curry? Do you like goat curry or?
Probably Cambodian coconut amok.
That's not bad, actually. It's very similar to what they do here in Vietnam. They use goat udder, which is lovely. It really is.
Yeah, it'd been marinated in milk for 5 years.
No, it's not that bad. How they do it, I don't know, but it's not that chewy, and it actually is. It's really nice. I like it. Oh, 9 o'clock hero, your phone data is running low. Oh, damn, man. Well, don't burn it all off, buddy. If you have to go, you have to go. But I do appreciate you coming out, man. Always good to see you here. Oh, Kila was mean about being a guest.
Do you mean on an absolute scale or mean on a Kila scale?
That's a good question. That's a good question, Sableagle. How about it, Tusk? How do you define mean?
Relatively mean or absolutely mean? Mean in a fixed non-rotating reference frame or local Newtonian mean?
Oh boy. Oh, we could have some fun with that. Uh-oh. Tusk says he has real stuff to do tomorrow. You've got family tomorrow, don't you? Big family do. Okay. We understand. Oh, it was hurtful? Oh, well, we'll have to talk to Kila about that.
Tusk, there's no way it hurt your feelings. You're ex-military. You don't have feelings.
I suppose it's a matter of perspective. He says, yeah, I suppose it is. I suppose
Feelings
it is.
are a weakness that the enemy will exploit.
Well, I will say this, Tusk. I I love having you on, either here or on the flip side. I always seem to have fun talking to you, and we are going to have you on again, buddy. Because like I said last week, there is a serious discussion to be had about mongrels. So we are going to do that. So, oh, Eddie's here. Hello, Eddie. Nice to see you. Peeks. Hello. Peek back. I peek back. There we go. Peek back. Always good to see you, Eddie. Welcome, welcome. All right. Crafty Chenko can be cruel. Well, I wouldn't exactly say cruel, but she's got a bit of a bite. I'll tell you that. But I think that's what I love about her.
Cruella. Cruella from Cork. Like Cruella de Vil, but from Cork, not de Vil.
Yeah, I noticed that spelling. Absolutely. Oh, Eddie, you've been laying on the sofa and lurking. Well, that's okay. It's the weekend. We can all do with a bit of laying about and lurking.
Lurking is what sofas were invented for.
That's right. We would
As
not
any
have
black cat.
we would not have sofas if it wasn't for those wishing to lurk properly inventing them. I'm going to stick to that story. Absolutely. So, what do you want to talk about, Sable?
Complain about what passes for music these days and open quote the West close quote.
I don't know, man. They just don't make music the way they used to anymore, and I'm sure Chris
Yeah,
Durham is
like
going to agree
verses.
with me on that. The modern stuff they're
Lyrics.
putting out these days.
It's a triple whammy on the modern stuff, isn't it? Like even if you're just reading the lyrics, think, okay, interesting chorus. It needs some work to get the lines the same length and make it rhyme, but it's got a hook. Oh, you're repeating the chorus. Okay, well, verse 1, no, that's a repeat of the chorus again. Oh, you're repeating a line from the chorus 5 times. Okay, and the chorus again. Yep. Are there any verses? Oh, you finished. Okay. Plus, there's the way they perform. I don't know when it started, but there used to be a thing like back in the 80s, or early 90s. Oh, I don't know, 1920s, I guess. But like, if you listen to 2 Minutes to Midnight, the guy singing that is quite clearly disgusted and pissed off. I've described it before as the world's angriest anti-war campaigner, or the world's angriest pacifist. It's basically Masters of War, but metal. If you listen to something like Conte Partiro, Sarah Brightman doing that solo, beautiful. And even if you don't understand a word of it, it's obviously a love song. What's the one that gets used as a theme in the Indecent Proposal suite? What's that one? If we're dancing all alone or in a crowded room, that one. I forget the title of the song. When you put your arms around me, you always send me to the moon in all the right places. That one. It's obviously a love song. It's obviously sung by someone who's really into someone.
Well, yeah, obviously.
If you get The Trooper, Iron Maiden again, it's got that galloping pace. It's got yelling. It's got that frantic feeling to it. You wouldn't have to understand the words to get the feeling that it's about a battle.
Well, that's the great thing about the older music from our day. Modern music just doesn't have that.
Yeah, these days you get someone who is saying that I am very much in love with this girl that I have met, and it is wonderful, and we are going to get married and have lots of babies, and it is wonderful. And
It's starting to sound like a Buddhist chant.
Are you really happy? I honestly can't tell.
Oh, Tusk says Iron Maiden are shit. They are the worst for just repeating the chorus over and over again. It's usually just the title of the song repeated 8 times. I can't say that I disagree. But then again, I've never been into metal. That's one style of music that just never appealed to me. Like opera. Oh, I can't stand opera. Oh my God.
That was a moment I got nerd sniped. Someone said she didn't like opera. She'd never heard any opera she liked. And said, and don't suggest Oh Fortuna because I've heard it and I don't like it. And my inner nerd was like about to say, technically, actually, that's not an opera. That is from Carmina Burana, which is a dramatic cantata in Teatro Mundi.
I can't do it.
If I say that, she's going to ask me to explain the difference, and we'll be here all day.
I've tried. I've tried to appreciate opera for what it is, but I just can't. It's just not my bag. Chris Durham says my perspective on modern pop is a little jaded. I've been studying Gershwin, Porter, Rogers, Lennon and McCartney, and Rick Astley for ages. Oops, how'd that get in there? I was just going to say, Chris.
No, you can rely on him. He's never going to let you down.
Yeah, you don't want to get rickrolled. But yeah, I'm not into modern pop at all. It's just it doesn't cut it for me. It just doesn't. It doesn't have the feel.
There was a guy on the radio. I think it may have been Ed Sheeran a few years ago, saying, "I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with the shape of you." A lot, like again and again and again and again. And the radio presenter described it as soppy. Well, pardon me, that's not soppy.
Yeah.
No. Somebody saying, when she smiles, her smile lights up the whole county, that's soppy. Somebody saying, I've never actually been into flowers, but hearing this guy talk about all the details of them is just adorable, that's soppy. Somebody saying, I don't actually care where we go, she fell asleep with her head on my shoulder, and I felt so privileged that she trusted me enough to feel that comfortable in my arms, made me just forget the rest of the world, is soppy.
Yeah.
I'm in love with your body, I'm in love with the shape of you, is basically just another way of saying you've got nice tits.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Yeah. I like the shape of you.
Absolutely nothing in that so-called song is about the parts of her above the neck. There are some important parts up there.
Let's see. Tusk says music is a passing and frivolous fad. The sooner it's over, the better. Well, no, I can't agree with that. I'm sorry, Tusk, but we need music. But we just got to find a way back to the good stuff. Not that crap they're putting out these days. Oh, Eddie. Haha. Ooh, life could be a dream. Shaboom. Life could be a dream. Shaboom, 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 shaboom. That was a cool song. So, what did you listen to when you were growing up?
Whatever I was bloody told to listen to.
No, come on. There must have been some kind of a genre or popular music style when you were going through high school.
Well, pre-high school, See, my father had ABBA's Greatest Hits and Greatest Hits Volume 2 on vinyl.
Ooh.
Yes, I'm old enough for it to be on vinyl. They got played a bit. A whole lot of Beethoven, Chopin, Mozart.
Uh-huh.
I never actually... I'm kind of pulled two ways on Tchaikovsky. Because, like somebody said, Wagner has wonderful moments separated by awful quarters of an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Tchaikovsky has beautiful themes ruined by, like, Tourette's. I think Ilyich Tchaikovsky had a unique form of Tourette's syndrome in that instead of not being able to go 5 minutes without swearing at someone, he couldn't write 5 minutes of music without beating the shit out of the drum kit.
Yeah, he did like his percussion.
It's terrible. If you've watched a lot of the early Disney, there used to be Cartoon Time or something on TV and got recorded. And actually, I probably listened to the Blue Peter theme music more than anything else because that was on every damn day, wasn't it?
Oh, geez.
But if you've seen Disney's Snow White before you ever encounter, it's not Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, before you ever encounter Tchaikovsky, obviously in reality, Disney's Snow White steals, copies, infringes copyright of Tchaikovsky's Snow White ballet. Sleeping Beauty ballet, for God's sake. I can remember which fairy tale is which. Islam and Christianity are easy enough to get mixed up. How do you get Snow White mixed up with Sleeping Beauty? One of them's about a girl who's completely useless and utterly dependent on some guy to come along and sweep her off her feet. And the other one's, right, I see how you get them mixed up. But anyway, the Disney animated film has that song, you know. I know you, I danced with you once upon a dream. I know you, the gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam, and I know, and so on. If you've heard that one, when you get to Tchaikovsky, you're expecting to hear that because you hear the same tune. Except it goes more like, the gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam, and I know it's true that you're going to run off with some other guy and have his baby and probably crash my car, and you can't bloody reverse them, you never fucking can. And you're going to spend all my money on bloody frivolities, and I'll never get anything back from any of it. You're probably not even going to be willing to let me sleep in the same bed as you after the first 3 years, because bloody women. But if I know you, I know what you do. I'm like Piotr, seriously, are you all right?
Man.
Did something happen? Do you need help?
Unbelievable. Let's see what's going on. Oh, geez. No, Clive. No. Not going there, Clive. No. Let's see. Fun fact: in Snow White, the hi ho, or hi ho, the dwarfs sing, hi ho, it's home from work we go. It's not off to work we go. That's an interesting fun fact.
I thought they sang home from work the first time you saw them. Because Snow White breaks into their house. Tramp.
Yeah.
And then they're singing hi ho, it's home from work we go. And then they find her. And in the morning, they're singing it's off to work we go as they leave her there. And then the witch comes around and almost kills her.
I don't think I remember it well enough to know which is which. I've always sung it as it's off to work we go. So,
Yeah, the first time it's introduced with some kind of clock type device signaling that it's end of shift. And the dwarf who's near it sings out, hi ho.
Yeah.
Get the other's
and
attention.
he gets the answer, hi ho.
From there, and becomes it's home from work we go. But I'm sure they sing it again in the morning as it's off to work we go.
Yeah, I think they do sing both. Eddie says death to Snow White. Wow, Eddie, really?
Eddie, you can't be imposing the bloody death penalty on Snow White. She was only 11.
Carl Edwards is here. Hello, Carl.
If you look into European culture at the time when those stories are first recorded, the original folk tales before the Brothers Grimm versions of them, long before Disney, and look into the details, yeah, Snow White was probably like 11 or 12. It was,
Yeah.
The story is basically that, you know, the evil stepmother gets jealous because men have started noticing Snow White. And at the time, that would have been around that age. Around the time she went from a double A cup to an A cup, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
then by the time you're halfway through the movie, she's a full D.
Yeah, well, it would be even worse, wouldn't it, if she went to sleep one night as an A and woke up as a C? Like, what happened?
Yeah. I tell you, man, Walt Disney had this penchant for large-breasted characters when it comes to the ladies.
Maybe. Sleeping Beauty, the pre-Brothers Grimm one, she's not woken up by the prince kissing her. She's woken up by giving birth to his children.
A what?
Yeah, having been an unmarried virgin when she entered teenage years, shed a single drop of blood, and that was it. Her life as a young girl was over. Her life remains on hold until she is married with children. Fuck the patriarchy, but that was the original story. And yeah, she's woken up by giving birth to the guy's twins, having apparently been married to him and impregnated in her sleep when she, what's that phrase? Couldn't possibly consent. But then back in those days, we didn't give a damn about that, did we?
You know, if you really dig into all those fairy tales, there's some scary shit going on there.
Yeah. I've read some of the really old ones about the fairies are never the good guys in the really old fairy tales. There are some horrible things out there.
Yeah, I mean, fairy tales are supposed to be entertaining for children, and yet they are the most horrid stories ever.
You could consider them valuable warnings.
Well, yeah, that's basically all they're good for. I mean, to scare the shit out of kids into doing what you want them to do. You know,
with strange creatures you meet in the woods.
Yeah,
and
you know, witches who want to cook you. You know, using gingerbread houses as bait.
See, a gingerbread house just seems like a very bad idea.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make any sense at all. But hey, it's good bait for kids, and then she wants to cook them.
You might get away with it in Iran, but
no,
in Yorkshire. Can you imagine how long a gingerbread house would last in Yorkshire?
Probably not more than about an hour or so.
Day one, it rains. Day two, the sheep eat it.
I don't think the icing cement would last more than an hour in that humidity.
Yeah, gingerbread house in Morocco. The kids eat it.
Oh, let's see. Oh, what's going on in the chat here? Not much. Oh, Chris Durham says, so horror has been an entertainment genre forever. I would say pretty much.
Well,
I mean, think about. I mean, some of those fairy tales, which seem innocent on their surface, are pretty scary imagery. Like even like Humpty Dumpty. You know, it's about a fat guy, an egg falling off a wall and smashing to bits, and that's it. His brains are splattered all over the place, you know, and they make a song about it.
Well, you know, have you heard the one about the guy who's on the eve of a battle? He asks a spirit of some sort, call it a fairy, for help. And it's like, if you help me win this battle, I'll give you the first thing that comes out of my house to meet me when I get home, or the first thing I own that I see when I get home, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this spirit thing helps him win the battle. And when he gets home, his daughter comes running out to meet him. So he actually sacrifices her to this genie type creature. Because that was the deal he made, and you don't get out of deals with Yahweh. That was its name, yeah. Known to Christians as God.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they still worship that thing. I'm not sure why.
I'm not sure why either. It makes no sense to me. Hey, some people just feel the need, so go for it. Just leave me alone about it. That's the way I see it. Yeah, I know, Eddie. It never says that he was an egg, and I think that's probably the problem. If it had said he was an egg, then it could be understandable. But he's always characterized in illustrations as an egg. So, you know, or egg shape. But why make up a children's song about a thing sitting on a wall, falling down, smashing to bits, and have all your innards splattered all over the place? I mean, what kind of imagery is that for children?
You know what else it doesn't say in that nursery rhyme? It doesn't say he wasn't pushed.
That's right. It doesn't say he wasn't pushed either. Exactly. He just fell off. Maybe he was drunk. I don't know. So
it could be a metaphor for something.
Yeah, and then they got stories like Peter Pan, where these innocent children,
some girl having a wet dream. Yeah. Sorry, but
yeah, well, I mean, these innocent kids get suddenly yanked into some fantasy world and turned into friggin' slave labor pirates. You know.
I'm pretty sure that was all just Wendy has her first wet dream, really. Because none of it makes any sense, and it's all based on the prejudices of a London child and that age. 1870 or whatever year it was. Rather than, you know, any form of reality.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got probably Walt Disney's most lovable and most recognized character, Mickey Mouse, doing a 2-hour movie. Okay, they make a 2-hour movie with this character, no dialogue at all, and the whole thing is just witchcraft, wizardry, fantasia.
Oh yeah, the Sorcerer's Apprentice part of that as well. The original Sorcerer's Apprentice, it doesn't finish with the sorcerer smacking him up the arse with a broom. It finishes with the floodwaters breaking down the doors and washing him away and killing him.
But I mean, it was a great feat of animation for the technology of the day, and the music was incredibly good. But still, I mean, the visuals and the message that was being sent through all these visuals, it's like, I don't know, is that really the movie itself? That it made no sense to me. It was just a showcase of animation prowess for that period in the industry.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was a good movie, though. It was really well done. Very well done.
Oh, from Fantasia, Night on Bear Mountain or Night on Bald Mountain. Because it's from Russian, you could translate it either way, and Russian doesn't have a or the. So if you want to call it a night on the bald mountain or whatever, you can. Just preempting the argument about which it should be called. Mussorgsky originally wrote it. Was rearranged by, I think, Rimsky-Korsakov to be a little more Western friendly. It's darker and more grating in the original. But I think Iron Maiden, 2 Minutes to Midnight, and Bon Jovi, Young Guns, both reused that tune.
That I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with either one of them. So, yeah.
There's the part of the original. Like if you put that through distortion guitar, it can be immediately followed by Moving to Fire at the Mainstream of Bombers. And if you play it on an acoustic guitar, it can be immediately followed by Wake Up in the Morning and I Raise My Weary Head.
Interesting. Where do you get all this stuff? Where do you get? You're full of these little bits of interesting little information.
46 years of life and a malfunctioning memory.
Hey, that's a good one. I gotta use that one. 40 years of life and a malfunctioning memory. That could get me out of a few binds. Let's see. Clive Wells says, when I was a small kid, my favorite record was Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf. I'm not very familiar with that. Are you, Sable?
I've heard it. It's a very vigorous piece of music. It actually matches the story with I think them hunting each other, and it ends in a fight and one of them winning. So expect creepy bits and a lot of violence.
Chris is warning me never to play Trivial Pursuit with you. I don't know. Depends on the trivia, I guess. But I have a feeling you would be a formidable opponent.
Only if it's not about football. I have never been particularly interested in 22 foreigners kicking an artificial pig bladder wrapped in a dead cow's skin around a plastic lawn.
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm of the same mind. I've never been a sports person, ever. It's never been part of my life, to be honest. Let's see.
I'm quite happy to orienteering, fencing, badminton, archery, rifle and pistol shooting. I guess live action role play counts as a sport, depending who's running it. Dinghy sailing, does scuba diving count? Maybe. Downhill skiing, mountain hiking. It's somewhere between long distance hiking and mountain climbing and fell running. It's walking across the fells, basically. They all count as sports. I've enjoyed all of them. Canoeing down rivers, wonderful time. Although depending on the pace of the river and who's on board, that's somewhere between sport and organized loafing. But what gets me is that 7 French guys, 2 guys from Cameroon, 1 from Argentina, 2 from Spain, 1 from Chile, 3 from Russia, 1 from Greece, however many others make up the numbers. None of them from anywhere in the UK. 11
playing for the UK.
10 of them wearing red shirts and 10 of them wearing yellow shirts and 2 of them wearing green shirts are booting some blob of plastic around a plastic lawn and feigning injury anytime anyone else gets within like 2 meters of them to some old ancient set of rules based on apprentices from two sides of a town trying to carry a pig bladder into the other apprentice's home. And they get paid, or some of them get paid numbers like £71 million a year for this. And there are people who don't live in the cities they're supposed. I mean, they don't live in the cities they're supposedly representing. They weren't born there. They're not going to retire there. Their kids don't go to school there. They have no connection to it, except they happen to be playing for a team that shares a name with that city. And you've got people who also have nothing in common with that city, except they've paid £100 for a £10 plastic lunch box that happens to have that team's logo on it, or a £15 rucksack with that team's logo on it. So it cost £100. And they don't talk about this team did well or this guy did well. It's all, we kicked your asses. Well, you weren't on the pitch, dude.
Yeah.
Right? They tie their identities into it. The only time I've ever seen anything as fanatical as English football fans is when Sunni and Shia Muslims are blowing each other up in Iraq over what weekend the bloody festival should be celebrated.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably why I never, ever bothered following sports, because, to be honest, I'm sure it's great entertainment, and if you're into it, you probably enjoy watching the game, and you probably enjoy participating with your mates on the weekend, playing yourself. But professional sports, I don't know. The salaries are obscene. Obscene.
Yeah.
Not one anywhere in any sport could ever justify to me earning that kind of money for what they do. I'm sorry, but they just cannot justify it. It is obscene what these people are getting paid.
And the contracts are written such that they get paid first.
Mm-hmm.
The club gets a certain amount of money, and it pays that guy his 70 million, and then it pays that guy his 55 million, and then it pays that guy his 30 million, and so on through the list of players.
Yeah.
Then it pays rental on the facilities and the electricity bill. Then, if there's any money left over, it pays the cleaner.
Yeah.
That is the wrong way around.
And yet, every season, the price of admission gets increased obscenely again. You know, like when I was young, you could go to a hockey game, which was a sport of choice in my country, in Canada. You could go watch a professional hockey game on $10, 10 Canadian dollars, and you could go watch the game. You gain entry, you get some snacks and a beer or two. You know, nowadays you can barely get seats in the nosebleeds at the top of the stadium for $100. You know.
Yeah. And then we have people around.
Yeah.
I'm going to fly across to Istanbul, stay in a hotel for 4 nights, and then fly back and eat out every night, 3 times a day, and drink vast quantities of beer at bar prices in order to be in the stadium to watch one game, like Leeds versus Ankara or Leeds versus Istanbul or something.
Yeah.
At a cost of probably 4 figures, thousands of pounds, or at least 8,000. Try asking them for 50 pence to save a kid's sight in Africa, you'll get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, that's right. You know, you try and collect money to help people who really are struggling and need the help, and you get ignored. Meanwhile, everybody is clamoring to beg, borrow, or steal the $100 they need to go see that football game or that hockey game. You know, people's priorities are messed up, and I'm sorry. I just it really makes me angry when I hear about these NFL players, these basketball players, these football players, the salaries they're getting, you know, and then I don't know about you, Sableagle, and I'd really like your opinion on this, but what really angers me the most is the argument people give you about, well, they can only do what they do for maybe 5 years before their knees give out or whatever, and they can't do it anymore. You know, does that justify 70 million a year? I couldn't make that in 10 lifetimes. You know what I mean? If you're that
Oh, yeah.
worried about how long or what you're going to do after your knees give out, you can't play anymore. Why don't you consider going back to school, get a fucking education and a proper job?
Or there are a couple of things there. One is, if you get paid 70 million for the first year, you can outright buy a very nice house with plenty of its own land and, you know, a brand new vehicle that'll last you 15 years and invest 5 million and retire and live on, you know, reinvest enough to make up for inflation from what you get on that investment and live on the difference extremely well.
And exactly. You could have a very comfortable life.
63 million pounds. So no, they don't need 350 million because they can only work for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly my point.
It's actually having that much money in the first year is actually makes life cheaper than getting that much money over the course of 50 years anyway. And also, how badly do you think soldiers' knees get fucked up with them running around with full gear on?
Exactly.
I don't see
and they're serving their countries for a hell of a lot more than 5 years.
Yeah. And I don't see anybody asking footballers to run up to an enemy bunker and post a hand grenade in. But no, they get called heroes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, myself, I did not serve as extensively as you have or others, but I did my bit. I put in 3 years in the military. And even after that, my knees and my ankles are fucked. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean.
Get anything. I don't get anything extra for that. And I live with the discomfort and the pain of that for the rest of my life. You know?
And you don't have a £5 million house out in the countryside with 600 acres of gardens. No.
The only benefit I had was I had 3 meals a day provided for me, and I had barracks for housing. Right?
Yeah.
That's for me. That's it. I mean, I made a decent salary, but it was nothing more than I could make in a civilian job of similar skills. You know, it was the national average for someone doing that kind of work. And the only other advantage I have is because I have served 3 years in the regular forces, which means full time. That when I do finally retire, I'll get a little extra tacked on to my pension.
Oh yeah.
That's about it. That's about all the advantage I got out of that.
I stand to get an extra 1,000 a year when I retire, and no, that doesn't go up with inflation.
Yeah. So exactly.
Whoop-de-do. Yeah.
Yeah. But when I came out of the military, I didn't have a $50 million house to move into. Hell no, I had to start over from scratch on City Street.
But, if one of them got, here's 50 million, and he said, right, okay, thanks, that's 50,000 for me, and that is damn near 5 million in each of 10 bank accounts, one of which is going to be my retirement account, and the other 9 are each going to pay for somebody to go and take care of the kids in that hospital. Because those are the children of this city, and the people of this city provided the money, which has just come to me. So it should do them some good. So I'm going to pay for a nurse, an extra nurse in that hospital. And in the case of the USA, the patients don't have to pay that nurse because I'm paying that nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an extra cleaner to keep the place clean and reduce nosocomial infections.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. Here's an extra teacher in the school that most needs the help. 9 of them.
Excuse
And
me.
then next year, you get another 50 million. You go, hey, I've already got my retirement fund. Here's another 10 nurses and teachers
Mm-hmm.
and crossing guards and litter pickers.
Yeah.
And, oh, I've already bought a house. Here is me. I'm going to use this money not to buy myself a third home in the country or an extra 10 Jaguars or something, but to buy that entire apartment block.
Mm-hmm.
And move and provide homes for $1 a month rent to the people who are least able to afford it in this city that is providing me with this lifestyle.
Yeah.
I could respect that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could respect that too, but no, I just don't have any bit of sympathy for sports stars who complain about their salaries not being big enough. Fuck you. I couldn't make what you make in 10 lifetimes. Stop whining and bitching. Be a bit smart with your money. Be glad that you got it, because you certainly don't deserve it. But then that's my opinion. That's just how I feel about professional sports, and that's why I simply will not support it. I won't watch it. I don't care about it. I could care less, to be honest. I couldn't care less. you know I mean, there are people out there who work their ass off and do good and make a difference in society, and they don't get diddly squat for it, or barely enough to survive. Teachers, case in point. I've been doing it for 20 years and I barely get by with what I make. It's
We've had
disgusting.
stories here about teachers coming into school early so that they can provide breakfast to the kids whose families can't afford to feed them, so that those kids will have had food that morning and will be able to concentrate in school, so they'll stand a chance of getting good grades.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell is that not funded by the government? Oh,
Mhm.
because they're too busy paying some extra minister for football. They created a post of minister for football, like 125,000 a year, and bailing out a failing bank for billions and then selling it for 10,000 to a school buddy, or paying whatever we pay for however many F-35 strike fighters we still don't have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's so many places where the money could be used so well and so constructively, and then yet they place higher importance on the salary of a damn sports star than they do about the society that needs it. It's awful. I just want to say hello to Tina Jones. Hello, Tina. Welcome. Nice to see you. Always good to have you here. So let's move on here, guys. I think we're getting a little bit too
grim,
heavy on the
dark,
raging, too grim, too dark. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Ukraine.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Well, let's not go there. We all know what a shitty situation that is. But I sure hope everybody out there is finding a way to be safe, getting out of harm's way, and let's hope this whole thing gets resolved quickly. That's all I got to say.
People in the side chat of live streams from there. I mean, I've seen them saying, "Oh my God, Lviv has just been nuked. Check camera 5," and then like 500 people will type /camera 5 into the side chat. It doesn't fucking work, you idiots! It's a YouTube live stream. There are no slash commands. But there were some people saying all of this pain and suffering would stop if Ukraine just surrendered.
Yeah, well, really? That's kind of no. I can't agree there.
Telling a girl that the guy slapping around would stop if she just agreed to marry him.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they're saying. You know, fuck this surrender shit. You don't belong here. This is not your country, and you have no right to take it away from us.
Yeah, it
And the
would all
people
stop
have
if
the right to
Putin
stand
ordered the
up and
Russian
defend it.
forces to go home and then went out on the balcony and shot himself in the head.
Hmm.
That'd end it.
No, it's just I'll never understand politics. I'll never understand the need for countries to war. Um, I don't know. I just
I don't think understanding it actually makes your life any better anyway.
yeah.
It's
All I
understanding
know is that
politics is gazing too long into the abyss.
yeah, I think Putin is going to pay a heavy price for this, whether he gives a crap or not. Doesn't matter. You know. Hmm.
Yeah. Polonium tea or
Hmm?
polonium tea or just a stress-induced heart attack?
Carl Edmer says, agreed to rape and it is no longer rape. That is what I heard from an utter monster. Very pertinent for the Ukraine situation. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree, Carl. Just because they are not as strong as the Russians doesn't mean they need to just back down and let Russia do what they're doing. Sorry, but
4 rounds of 357 Magnum hollow point through the rapist's stomach, and it is no longer a rape. It is now self-defense.
mm-hmm.
You know, blood loss,
Yeah.
reduced blood pressure, erection disappears, kind of stops him. Also, him being dead stops him. That's extremely effective. Where he saved the 5th one to put it into his eye.
Yeah. No, I think in a situation like that, a woman is fully justified in any action she takes to protect herself.
Or her children. There was a marvelously
Or
what would you call it? A creative writing prize for a
Hmm.
police report of an incident in which the wrong babysitter was apparently so startled by the parents coming home early and catching him in the act that in an attempt to flee through the back window, he slipped and banged his head 17 times on a kitchen stool.
oh,
And
jeez.
in falling, caught the handle of a pot of soup and tipped it over himself.
That's creative writing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, thank you, Carl Edwards. But that is exactly how I feel. You, uh, if you do anything to a woman of that kind, of that sort, I'm sorry, you deserve what you've got coming to you. You know, I don't care how she makes you feel. Like, a lot of times, have you ever heard that argument? Oh, well, she got raped because she was so provocatively dressed. Fuck you. Being an adult is knowing how to control yourself.
There's actually a museum of the clothes that women were wearing at the time, which is created purely to dispel that myth.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard about a judge who, the defendant's lawyer said that the victim had been, sexily dressed. And the judge actually asked to see her in the clothes she'd been wearing at the time. Talk about, reliving the trauma. Just inflict that on the victim. It's no problem. Go right ahead. She was 10.
Yeah.
I don't care what she was wearing.
Who gives a shit? You done wrong. You're going to pay for it. Period. Wow, we're getting a little bit heavy here today, boy. That's what I like about this show. You never know where it's going to go. We just start talking about stuff, and that's what makes conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I like doing this. I want people to have a voice. And by all means, folks, if you got something you want to share, absolutely. Just tag me in the chat, you know, and we'll get it out there. You know, each and every one of you in the side chat, along with my guest, you have a voice here and you want to share something, tag me. We'll get it out there for sure. Hmm. Yeah, Eddie's got it right. I was wearing my school uniform when someone tried to grab up my skirt on a bus. I kneed him so hard in the sternum and dragged him by the ear off the bus. Fuck you very much. Good for you, Eddie. Good for you. And I hope he was in pain for a while.
I hope the bus didn't stop.
Yeah, exactly. I hope the bus was still moving. Good for you, Eddie. Don't take that shit from anybody. You know? And I think that's what bothers me the most about all of these kinds of sex crimes, especially when there are crimes against children and women. Um, it just, some people just, they have no concept of just, I can't even get the words out. It makes me so angry when I hear about those things, you know?
Some people don't deserve to be on the same planet as dogs.
Yeah. I mean, if I see it happening, I'll tear the living shit out of the guy. And I don't care if I go to prison for it. But you're not going to pull that crap in my presence and get away with it. I'm sorry, but it's just not going to happen. Whether I'm part of the situation or not, I will intervene. And that's all there is to it. And I don't care the consequences to me. You know, it's my responsibility as a responsible adult in this society. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, gee whiz. Eddie's Eddie Little Rage, you are my hero. There you go, Eddie. You've got a fan. And absolutely, Carl, I think that was a great move. And I wish I was there to see it. Yeah, that's right, Carl. My show is about life. That's what we do. We just talk about what's going on, you know? And I want everybody to feel like they're safe and comfortable and can share what they want to share. You know, you're all welcome here, and as are your opinions and your thoughts. So,
Unless your opinion is that you like Eminem, in which case you can write off.
an opinion is, well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. That doesn't mean you don't have a right to fart. You know? Absolute. Well,
In more cheerful news, I've made more friends in the back garden here. There've been last year there was one female blackbird who started coming for food, and then a male blackbird started coming up, and she would always get there first, but he would chase her off. So she's more keen to eat right next to my feet, where he doesn't dare go. And then that turned into 3 blackbirds, which turned into 4. And this year there's a robin which has shown up as well. Now, robin's a cheeky little git, so I wasn't sure at first whether this one was waiting for me to turn my back so it could go into the shed and help itself directly from the sacks, or was actually waiting to be fed. But the robin then came and snatched one from like within a handspan of my toes. So Robin got friendly. And I've noticed that as soon as I come back inside, 2 great big carrion crows show up, which is a little different from the others around here. Huge things.
Holy mackerel. Yeah, crows can get pretty big.
Clever too.
Yeah, well, yeah. Absolutely. A lot of
intelligent,
people don't realize how clever
problem-solving,
birds can
intelligent.
get. Yeah. But I think the birds I hate the most are magpies. They're
Yeah.
they're just bastards, flying bastards.
Do you have Australian magpies there or European magpies?
I think we have the Australian variety here, probably evolved into a more tropical variety, but we do see them here occasionally. But in Canada, where I come from, had a lot of magpies there, and they're just flying bastards. They don't, I hated them. They build nests where you don't want them. They're shitting all over the place. They'll steal everything. You know.
I think the Australian ones are quite large for crows, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, the European one is actually small for a crow. It's about pigeon-sized,
Mm-hmm.
with an extremely long tail and very big, heavy beak.
Yeah.
And they're specialist nest raiders.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to all this trouble to make your garden bird friendly and get all these songbirds, and then every spring you hear a flock of these gits show and hunting through the hedge for nests and eating all the chicks and eggs.
Yeah.
There might be more of them around if I didn't find that so offensive.
Yeah. They're just the hooligans of the bird world. You know, that's the way I think of magpies. They're just hooligans of the bird world. So, Carl Edwards says Indian Mayans are incredibly annoying. I'm not familiar with them. Indian Mayan or Indian Mayans. Sorry, Mayans.
That's what you get for republishing the Rise of the Mayans on pain of progress.
Yeah. That's why it's stuck in my head. Yeah, the Mayans. Yeah, we have Mina birds here too. They're not so big. They're not too bothersome. And the fun thing about the Mina birds is that they'll pick up on repeated sounds quickly, and soon enough they'll stop chirping and just make that sound over and over. You know?
I think some of them actually, they try to impress prospective mates with the range of sounds they can imitate.
Yeah. My brother had a Mina bird. That thing could honk like a Honda Cub motorbike, and you couldn't tell the difference. And that thing would be honking all day. It's really funny.
That reminds me of the other one I don't like around here. Just ordinary bloody pigeons. Because, you got sparrows in the hedges going. You got robins going. Got the lark with that beautiful soaring song. High up into the sky on a summer day. Got blackbirds with that slightly deeper voice. Really complicated calls in the hedges. And then some pigeon shows up and sits on the roof going, cuckoo, coo, cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. I swear. One more fucking time. Say coo one more time. I dare. I double dog dare you. Say coo one more fucking time.
Tiny Captain showed up. Hello, Tiny Captain. Good to see you, my friend. And Demon Orb is here too. Ooh, hello, Demon. Yeah. So, Adventures of Birds. Let's see. What are some other birds? I'm not much of a bird person. I don't know the birds very, very well, but some interesting birds here in Vietnam that you could buy them almost anywhere. I mean, if you wanted to keep birds, you could find birds just about everywhere. And then that chicken flu hit H1N1, and the police went around the city and confiscated every last caged bird in Ho Chi Minh. And that was it. You couldn't find them anywhere anymore for a couple of years. Now they're starting to show up again.
Yeah, that's Vietnam doing the draconian immediate precaution. Oh, hey, that actually worked thing. Found a new webcomic called Stand Still, Stay Silent, which is based on the assumption that a few tiny places in Scandinavia and the whole island of Iceland were the only ones that were sufficiently isolated, because Iceland did shut down immediately, to survive the Great Plague of 2020. It's a slightly worse plague in the comic. It's a much worse plague in the comic. So the guy from Iceland heading to, I forgot what it's called now.
Yeah.
I can find it in a second. I hate scroll wheels sometimes. Bornholm in Denmark, the most southern place in the whole known world. Literally the rest of the world has been lost to the plague, so slightly worse than the one we've actually had. Just
they any kind of thing like that, they jump on it right away here. Sometimes they go over the top, but they jump on it and kill it quick. Like the pandemic, I mean, there was no wasted time. They locked it down, instituted rules for anybody who breaks the lockdown, and that was it.
Well, you could say it worked for them. Worldometers have a lot of projections. So 2 days ago, when it might actually be real stats, deaths per million population, Peru is on 6,200 and some, Bulgaria 5,150 some, Bosnia and Herzegovina 4,700, Hungary 4,500, North Macedonia 4,300. You could say it's not going well for them.
No.
15th place is Slovenia on 3,009. So that's 15 places that are all already shown that it does not have a 99.7% survival rate, because there ain't 99.7% of the population left alive.
Yeah.
USA 2,903, not doing much better. The UK, where we started off with no plan at all, 2,353. Not really good. Spain and Italy, Spain and France all got fucked, didn't they?
Yeah.
Italy's up above there.
Spain what and France are the numbers now? What are the numbers now for Vietnam?
Well, that was where I was going. Yeah. People in the USA were saying Sweden hasn't locked down or instituted a mask mandate, completely ignoring the fact the Swedish constitution meant they couldn't. And they're doing fine. They're on 1,677. Somewhere down here. Ireland for Crafty Keeler, 1,287. Denmark, 766. Finland, 426. Vietnam, 404.
Now, you take that 404 for Vietnam, and you compare that to the Vietnamese population of like 92 million. You tell me that this lockdown didn't work.
Well, that is deaths per million. So that's already compared to the population.
That's nothing compared to other places.
And Norway, 291. And South Korea, 150.
Yeah.
Which, there are 15 countries that are above 3,000, and they're on 150.
Yeah. And we're under
Maybe
half.
Something right.
We're under 500. I mean, that's pretty good, considering. But the point I'm trying to make was that here in Asia, specifically Southeast Asia, they don't give you the choice of whether or not you want to wear a mask or get a vax. you're wearing a mask, you're getting vaxxed, or your ass is up the creek. Period. There is no negotiation. There is no discussion. There is no, well, it's my rights. Bullshit. It's the law and you will abide or you're going to pay the price. That's how it is down here in Asia. And that's why we've got the lower numbers. You know?
Yeah, the places where, especially in the States, you see a bunch of people going, I got a First Amendment right to come into this supermarket without a mask on. The hell you have. Taser to the thigh, super glue a mask across the bastard's face.
Yeah. Your rights end at my social distancing and mask. Right? I don't give a shit what you think.
I was in fear for my life.
Yeah.
Hey, it works for cops.
It's crazy.
I saw a black guy get out of a car and I was in fear for my life, so I shot him.
Oh.
He was 9. Well, he looked like a full-grown man to me.
Yeah.
Buy glasses, for God's sake.
Some people have such a skewed and twisted sense of what's right and wrong. You know? So.
I had an argument here with someone. His kid had thrown an empty bottle out of the car window, so I threw it back in. And his objection apparently was that it was a very expensive car.
Well, if it's a very expensive car, then maybe you should
put a very expensive dustbin bag in the back seat. Well, and put the fucking bottle in that, jackass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. So, all right. Well, sorry, didn't mean to cough in your ear there, Sable.
All right, you're far enough away that I'm not in fear for my life. So,
well, there you go. Social distancing, right?
Yeah. And even I couldn't hit you from this distance, anyway.
Well, there you go. There you go. But yeah, it's been a day. I was at a wedding this afternoon. The funny thing about Vietnamese weddings is you can time them like 3 hours max, and they're done. People come to the ceremony, they sit down, they have the meal, they chit chat, and they're gone. Whereas back home, weddings could go till the wee hours of the morning. The bride and groom have already passed out or left for their honeymoon, and everybody else is still drinking their asses off. You know? Oh, Tiny Captain says that they stopped the mask mandate yesterday in the Netherlands. Are they that confident that they beat it? I don't know if that's such a smart move. Yeah, I don't know. Well, see how it goes, but thanks for the update. I didn't know that.
They dropped most of the restrictions here as well.
Yeah? What are your restrictions now? Where are you at?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm still masking up and washing my hands and avoiding getting close to people. And
But are they like allowing groups to gather and public restaurants to have indoor service? Is that all back now?
I would have to check. I've seen people eating inside at pubs, so yes. Netherlands, in the last 28 days, they have had 1,951,454 confirmed cases and 307 deaths.
Well, I think a lot of places around the world are starting to drop the mask mandate far too early. Not ready for it yet. I mean, from what I've been hearing, the Omicron is not so bad. It's starting. If you're vaxxed, then it's more like you're like a really strong flu. But again, it all depends on the person. So be careful.
Yeah, and even if it's not so bad for you, you might meet someone and accidentally infect them, and 3 days later or whatever, they go and visit their immunocompromised grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you by being careless just killed her.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to think long term. You got to think about the repercussions of exposure. It's not just you; it's everyone around you as well.
Okay, I've just found an article from UK Health Security Agency, which is
Mm-hmm.
2 days ago, which says, with the publication of the Living with COVID plan, the government has ended legal restrictions in England and is asking the public to practice specific safe and responsible behaviours as the primary means of stopping the spread of the virus. From today, the government will remove the legal requirement to self-isolate following a positive coronavirus test and also end routine contact tracing. Close contacts who are fully vaccinated will no longer have to test daily for 7 days, while unvaccinated close contacts will not be required to self-isolate.
Well,
Everything I can
guess
see
we'll
here
just
says there are now no restrictions at all. Jesus.
guess we'll have to wait and see how that all pans out then, hey?
I guess that means that shareholders can now tell corporations to tell the managers that they are not allowed to let you go home just because you're infected.
Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. If a person knows they are infected, they should be allowed to go home and self-isolate.
So if I was still working at the last place I worked and they told me I couldn't stay home because I'm infected, I would blow my nose onto the manager's bloody keyboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Have some of that. You want me to share it with everyone here? I'm sharing it with you first.
9 o'clock heroes back. Phew, internet restored. Hello. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back. Tiny Captain says that is true. We have way more cases than before, but they opened all back up because there are way, way less people hospitalized than before. So there's an increase in cases, but not severe enough to need hospitalization.
Yeah. I had the statistic for that one. You've probably heard the thing from racists in the USA. They deliberately misrepresented a statistic that despite making up only 13% of the population, black people, and to correct it before I finish the statement, make up 50% of the population that are in prison for violent crimes, not actually commit 50% of the violent crimes, which is, not the same thing at all.
Yeah.
And, well, they're less likely to get parole once they're in prison. They get longer sentences. They're more likely to be convicted. They're more likely to be sent to prison upon conviction than white people. They're more likely to be convicted than white people with the same evidence. And they're more likely to be poor, and poor people commit more crimes. So no shit, Sherlock. And the police pay more attention to black people. So, that's a whole lot of reasons other than them being black that contribute to them being in prison. But I created a version of it, which is like, despite making up only 8% of the population, the unvaccinated are 66% of those going into intensive care in hospital due to COVID. Or whatever the percentages were. So, as long as everyone's been vaccinated, as long as a large enough proportion of the population have been vaccinated with a vaccine that is effective enough against the existing strains, you will see fewer hospitalizations and far fewer critical care hospitalizations and far fewer deaths.
Yeah.
But the ones who can't be vaccinated are still vulnerable. If everyone gets infected, they're fucked.
Yeah. It's no guarantee. And then that's what people don't seem to understand. They think, "Oh, I'm vaxxed, I'm safe. I can do anything I want now." No. It's no guarantee. You can still get it. But anyways, let's move on. because I don't want to get this. I don't want to get my live stream nuked. So, yeah. So, anything else going on that you'd like to discuss there, Sable?
There's nothing going on here. This is a place where nothing happens unless it floods.
Wow.
I'm thinking of adding the North Yorkshire Moors because I've actually finished. I now have video from, I think, every dale in the Yorkshire Dales.
Mm-hmm.
I may have missed one of the minor ones, but I think I've got them all. So the next thing to do would be to go the opposite direction, hit the North Yorkshire Moors and start on Rydale and Rosedale and, that part of the country.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are you going to do with that footage? Are you going to be putting up some videos?
Just stick it on YouTube, just as is.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, I could try editing it all to make some kind of comprehensive, tour.
Mm-hmm.
I got most of the nib. But
if I had a proper GoPro or something, I'd probably stick it on the front of my motorbike and take you all for a ride from my house to my work. But I don't know how entertaining that would be. Give you a good insight as to the insanity of Vietnamese traffic in the morning.
I was about to say, I've seen Vietnamese traffic. It's not entertaining. It's madness.
It is. You take your life in your own hands every day, But the thing is, crazy and insane as the traffic is here, you get used to it. You start to develop the same habits that all the other idiots on the road are doing, and stupid becomes the new safe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, everybody expects you to keep going at the same speed and weave through everything you can. And once you get used to doing that, you're not going to take them by surprise and you're less likely to get hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, most of them are like little 50cc scooters doing
shit.
20 kilometers per hour. So it hurts a little bit less than getting hit by some dickhead in an Audi doing 60.
Yeah. But
in a 30 zone.
Yeah, I think it would make for an interesting video if I could find a way to mount a camera on my motorbike and just film the journey. It's about a 35-minute ride on my motorbike to get to work in the morning. But boy, you'll get a real good sense of what it's like to be in and amongst that traffic on a freaking motorbike. It's insane. Dora, she said, motorbike, what are you driving at Steaming Cup of Reason? I am, there we go. I am driving a Honda Lead. It's a city commuter bike. Some people call it a scooter, but it's not really a scooter. It's more of a motorbike, but not like the big Harley Davidson highway bike that you might envision when you say motorbike. But it is a motorbike. It's an automatic. It's zippy. It's a really nice little bike. I drive that. I commute back and forth to the office every day on that thing. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find a photo of it. And
I just looked it up. That's a scooter.
Huh?
I just looked it up. That's a scooter. You have your feet together on a flat plate and you sit above the engine. It's a scooter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just...
it does have a
second here.
The sensible Vietnamese thing where 50 cc's is good enough, 80 is big. 90, 100, and 125 cc versions are for idiots or people who are actually going on the open road out of the city a lot and completely unnecessary inside Ho Chi Minh City. Whereas in Europe and North America, we have somebody came out with a 300 cc, so somebody topped it with a 350, so somebody came out with a 400, so everybody had to make 400 cc, so people started making 500, and 500 was ludicrously fast. It's still a spec for Speedway, and then somebody came out with a 600, so everybody makes a 600. And now we have what? 1,200 cc engines in sports motorbikes. And I think is the latest Golding a 1.3 or a 1.6 litre? It's ridiculous.
Just give me 1 second here, and I will get this picture up. And here. So there you go. Yep. It's a 125cc fuel injected Honda. Yeah. You lost audio? Can you still hear me, folks?
Well, I can still hear you, but that probably doesn't help because I'm listening in the
Okay.
in the
Well,
meet.
yeah, no, I didn't have audio feed on that screen, but I just wanted to show you what the bike looked like. So now that I'm back on this scene, I've got my audio feedback. I just had to quickly create another scene so I could bring that image up and show you. But yeah, that's what I drive. It's actually quite zippy. It's got some oomph. It can move pretty good. But I'm telling you, man, when you're in amongst traffic in the morning, rush hour, getting to work, it's a lot more dangerous than you think, unless you're familiar with the general habits of the people around you. You know, it's like I said before, stupid has become the new safe. You know, if you try and drive in Vietnam with the rules and driving habits you're used to in your home country, you're going to get hurt. Sorry, but it's just not going to fly here. People are going to take you out, you know? So when you're driving in Vietnam, it's best to just clear your head of the driving lessons you learned back home in the US or Canada or wherever it is that you learn to drive, and just adopt the same style of driving as the locals, because they do some stupid shit, you know? But by the same token, you get used to the flow, follow along, be aware of what they're likely to do, and you get by fine.
I borrowed a 220cc. I forget the brand. I think maybe Proton or something. Chinese make, I think. Motorbike in Nepal. It was stripped right down. You know, it's where my own bike was a Honda Deauville, which has the full fairing, the glove boxes, the panniers on the back, the works. This was a bike with an engine in it, no fairing or anything, no extra weight. It was only a 220cc. But you think about how much of the weight of a motorbike is the engine.
That's exactly right. I mean,
Yeah,
even
you
though
don't
my
actually
bike,
lose that much power to weight ratio by having a 220cc versus a 400 or a 600.
yeah, even though my bike looks kind of small in comparison to those highway bikes, it's still got some heft. It has some weight, and it's not a light bike, you know. But people are saying that they've lost my audio again. Can you guys hear me at all?
Oh, we could hear you just fine. Clive is just winding
Oh.
you up.
Clive is just winding me up. Thanks, Clive. Okay. Yeah. Beware of evil Clive. I got you, Dora. Thank you, sweetheart. She's got my back. Awesome.
I think that Deauville was 350 kilograms dry weight.
Pardon me?
The motorbike I had, the 650, was 350 kilograms dry weight.
Mm-hmm.
Chunk of a thing with shaft drive and big suspension and all sorts and all that luggage built into it and the fairings. The first night it does have Honda's wonderful addition to that model and the Pan-European, which the paramedics drive, which is that the front frame extends out to the side in a pair of big steel bars. It's just got an elliptical steel bar right through it at the front with a plastic fairing over it. So if you drop it, it lands on that and the pannier, not on your knee.
Oh, well, that's good because that'll crush your knee for sure.
Yeah, so if you fail to jump clear as the bike falls, you hit the ground and the bike slides away from you rather than landing on you.
Yeah.
But of course, that adds weight. And the first night I had it, I parked it in the campsite at Fort William, put it up on its center stand, set up my tent, climbed in, went to sleep. Middle of the night, this howling gale and massive torrential rainfall comes in, and there's this thump next to me. In the morning, found my bike lying on its side. The rain washed the gravel out from underneath the center stand. Not gravel, like 50 centimeter chunks of rock compacted.
Yeah.
Along the side of the little narrow tarmac strip in the campsite. It had washed it out from underneath it, and the bike had fallen over.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I had to get hold of the handlebars and stand the bloody thing up.
That's not easy.
Not with that, it isn't. With a little 125 Kawasaki Ninja, you pick it up with one hand. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. My bike it's pretty heavy for what it is. But even if that bike drops, I do struggle a little bit to pick it up. I can do it because it's not as heavy as yours, but I still struggle to do it. It's got some heft. But the nice thing about my bike is the engine is located centrally in front of the rear wheel, and it's got a very low center of gravity. So I can drive that bike really like a dead slow crawl without having to put my foot down to keep the bike up. So as long as I've got power applied and I have some forward motion, that the balance on that bike is great.
Yeah, Dora was right. Was it Dora was right? Somebody was right. Dora was right. It's 223 kilos curb weight listed.
Yeah,
like 250 with me on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's quite a bit of heft. You know, it's deceivingly heavy. Oh, geez, Clive Wells. Would I wind you up? Really? Yeah, you would, Clive. You would. But that's okay, man. Always good to have you here anyway. I think, we got about 10 minutes left. I think it's puzzle time, folks. Anybody who solves the puzzle, anybody who solves the puzzle is welcome to join me on the show next week. So let's get that puzzle up and see who gets it. It's pretty easy. I think you guys should get it pretty quick. So here we go.
Talking about they're always easy.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so there you go, folks. Ooh. There you go. Of course I'm right. My Pan-European weighs about 310 kilograms, but like Score says, it has a really low center of mass. Yeah, and that's what gives the bike such wonderful balance, even at low speed. You know, I really, really like it. That's what I love about my bike. Yeah.
The Deauville was wonderfully stable. It's an amazingly stable machine. But with that much weight, if you're going to ride something like that, no matter how good you are on a little 125, you need to learn to handle the heavier bike.
Yeah.
And what I found worked really well was something picked up from a sport bike magazine. from a racing tip, that rather than trying to lean the bike over with your body weight, which works fine on those little lightweight Kawasaki's, it takes too long on a big heavy Honda.
Yeah.
A big heavy stable Honda. Instead, if you want the bike to lean to the right, push the right grip.
Yeah.
Steers the front wheel out from under the bike to the left, and the bike effectively falls down into a leaning right position. And then you push the left grip to stabilize it. When you want to stand it back up, you push the left grip and steer the front wheel back under the bike. And the difference that technique made was incredible. From this huge thing that was handling like a jumbo to, hey, I have a fighter jet.
I remember when I first came to Vietnam, for the first 4 years, I wouldn't go near a motorbike to drive it myself. I'd always have one of those motorbike drivers drive me to work. I'd sit on the back, until I finally got up the nerve and made the decision, if I'm going to stay here for any kind of time, I'm going to have to learn to do this. And I learned on a Honda Wave. The Honda Wave is a different style of motorbike. It's a semi-automatic, but the engine is higher up and more towards the center of the bike as opposed to towards the rear. And that gives it a really twitchy center of gravity. But it was a great bike to learn on because I learned how to control my balance and corner a lot more easily on that thing. But the worst bike I ever rode, I borrowed it from a friend of mine just for an hour or two to go run an errand. It was an old I think it was 1965 or 1970, a Minsk, an old Russian bike. What a colossal beater that thing was. Heavy as hell, high as hell. Center of gravity was really, really weird. Had knobby off-road tires on it. I hated that thing. But the thing had balls.
It was probably made out of a tractor chassis, an old bicycle, a lawnmower engine.
That's probably what it was. Those old Russian bikes were like super utilitarian,
To be fair, it has to be. If it's going to be used by the generic population of Russia, it has to cope with Russian country lanes in Russian weather, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's one of those bikes that you can't kill it. It's like the Honda Cub. You could drive that thing into the ground and still start it. That thing will not die. I've seen that thing run on whiskey, and the oil was chip oil from a restaurant, and the thing still starts. You cannot kill a Honda Cub. It's indestructible.
You want to be careful talking about running your engine on whiskey. There's some students, engineering students, showed that they could operate a motor vehicle on alcohol and something else. I forget what they were running it on. And they wrote it all up, and all the recalibrations they had to do, and the timings to the changes to valve timing to optimize for the different fuel mix and everything, and published it. And the Inland Revenue sent them a bill for the tax on the stuff that they'd burned because they hadn't paid road fuel tax on it. They only paid liquor tax, which isn't as high. So rather than thanks very much for showing us how to get ourselves unaddicted to Saudi oil, it was you owe us money now.
Archangelus Lunae, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. So I'm trying to keep up with the sideboard as well to see who gets the puzzle. It's really easy. Tiny Captain has a 350cc matchless from 1940. Holy mackerel. If that's in good shape, that's worth some money, my friend. Clive Wilson, is the answer egress? No. Good one. Good one. Chris Durham, it's almost time to egress. No. Yeah, Damon Orb, you're right. Running an engine on booze can make it whine. But I've seen it done. I've seen Cubs put through the most amazing hell, and they just won't die. Probably one of the most reliable bikes ever built.
I think the answer to this week's puzzle has actually been redacted by Kravchenko. The answer to this week's puzzle has been redacted by Kravchenko.
Oh man, border? No, Carl. I'm sorry, it's not border. Keep trying, guys. Keep trying. It's really easy. Just think logically. Think. How can I say? Think of the position of the letters and the sound they make. Put the two together. Error loading. You're a funny guy, Chris. Border appears to be correct. No. Sorry, Dora. I wish you would get it right because I would love to have you on. Man, that would be so cool.
I'm surprised Tiny Captain hasn't guessed at least one thing that's crossed my mind.
Well, we'll just leave it up and see if anybody gets it. And if they don't, I'll show you the answer before we finish up for today. But we've got like 3 minutes left, so I do have to kind of get ready to call it. But is there any final things that you want to talk about or bring up, Sable?
Probably hundreds, but I've forgotten all of them.
Well, it was an interesting conversation we just had about motorbikes, I'll tell you that. So, Carl Evers, I nominate Dora Ngoku, or Dora Ku. Yes, I agree. I nominate Dora as well.
I mean, you could just send her the link anyway next week if no one guesses it.
Oh yeah, well, absolutely. Maybe I should just send her a link and see if she takes me up on it and pops on. Well, that would be wonderful.
Something for your last 10 minutes then. You've just retired from being a professional footballer. You have like the last 15 million pounds that you haven't spent on, just supporting the local children's hospitals and schools and stuff, or donated to refuge so that women can actually escape from domestic violence and have somewhere to go. And you've got a motorbike and you're off to see the world. Where do you start?
I think Clive Wells is onto something here. He's telling me I should just tell Dora she has the right answer, even if she doesn't. That's a good idea. Because we're just about out of time. So I'm going to say, vote Dora. You got the right answer. I know you didn't say it, but I'm sure it's here. So I'll send you a link anyway next week. And hey, if you feel like it, you're always welcome. I would sure love to see you on the show. I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, I nominate Dora Ku too. Yeah, that's right, Clive. I agree. Chris Durham says, is it a drink? Chris, yes, it is. Now just tell me what the drink is. We could have
drink adjacent. Now, my suggestion for where I would start with the motorbike would be Lisbon in Portugal. And I would wander all the way up from Lisbon, like valley to valley, or up the coast, cross the passes or up and down the valleys, up to Porto in the north. and then from there across the Pyrenees, and I think I go round the Italian coast or something. But I definitely start in Portugal, because the only bit of it I've seen is Madeira. But on the way to Madeira, I saw those Portuguese ladies, and yeah, I'd like to spend a while in Portugal.
Looks like we have a winner, folks. Archangelus Lune. You're right. Cider. Good one, buddy. Well, you're welcome back on next week if you wish. Just send me a DM in the Discord, and I'll make sure I get a link out to you. And as far as Dora is concerned, Dora, I will have to agree with Carl Edwards. No pressure. No, we're just kind of fooling around, But I honestly, really, I would love to have you on the show. And if you ever feel like one day you want to come on and chit chat, you're always welcome. Okay, but this is a place that's open and free to everyone. So never take it as pressure. Just a sincere desire to have you on. Okay, so Archangelus Lune, congrats. Absolutely. You got it. You're on the show next week if you want to be. Just let me know. And with that, I'm going to have to call it because we're just about out of time. So, Sableagle, thank you so much for joining me again. Always nice to speak to you. And do you have any final comments for the side chat or anything?
I was hinting at Porter because it's on the left side, and Tiny Captain would call the left side Port. Apparently, I was wrong. Me, wrong.
You were wrong.
Inconceivable.
Oh, I hope somebody is recording this stream. We have evidence. Sableagle was wrong. Doesn't matter. It was a pleasure having you on, sir. Thank you very much for coming out. And for everybody in the side chat, again, I love seeing you guys here. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, the links are in the description below. If you want to give me a tip, just PayPal it and it'll show up on the screen. So thank you all for coming out. I really do love this, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, so be safe, have a great week coming up, and we'll catch you on the flip side tomorrow. So good night, everybody. Bye.